bitter criticism reading Russia Today. Let's move from the previous arrangement, and says October 4th, 2024, home in Russia, former Soviet Union. Ukraine's Kursk provocation failed Moscow. Kiev's foray into Russia sought to prevent a swift end to the wider conflict, Alexander Bortnikov has said. And we have a photograph. Russian Federal Security Service (FSB) Director Alexander Bortnikov. Ukraine's I never saw him. I never knew about him. Ukraine's incursion into Russia's Kursk region was intended to bait Moscow into an asymmetric hardline response. The head of the Federal Security Service (FSB) has said. Speaking at a meeting of top security officials on Friday, Alexander Bortnikov said Kiev's cross-border attack in early August, quote, once again demonstrated the criminal nature of Vladimir Zelensky's regime, unquote. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, Zelensky is crazy. The FSB director added that the foray was, quote, aimed at provoking Russia into a disproportionately harsh response and eliminating the preconditions for resolving the conflict in the foreseeable future, unquote. However, the incursion failed to relieve pressure on Ukrainian defenses in Donbass, where Moscow's forces have made steady progress in recent months, he said. According to Bortnikov, Ukrainian operations along the entire front line are being supported by NATO officers who are helping Kiev with planning, which in turn exposes the West's intention to expand and increase the intensity of hostilities, unquote. As Ukrainian forces struggle to make progress, NATO countries are pushing Kiev to more actively conduct a sabotage and terrorist war in Russian border areas, including raids on nuclear energy and oil facilities and attacks aimed at intimidating civilians, the FSB chief said, claimed. After Ukrainian troops attacked Kursk region, they made initial progress, but their advance was later contained, according to the Russian Defense Ministry, which later said its personnel were pushing back Kiev's forces. Moscow has estimated Ukraine's losses in the area at more than 19,800 soldiers since the start of the incursion. Ukrainian officials have stated that the main goals of the attack were to sway public opinion in Russia and gain a better position for possible peace talks with Moscow. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said that while Moscow has never ruled out engagement, it will only agree to talks after all Ukrainian forces have left Russian soil. Maybe this is just propaganda, because with the Kursk invasion, region invasion, they can say, hey, we are fighting back. What about Ukraine fighting back? Isn't it? It's funny, but anyway. And we have an interesting news. Interesting news about China on Russia Today. I guess this will be another forbidden news for the free world. Forbidden news for the free world. Everyone says October 4, 2024, Home World News. China hails quote best ever relations with Russia. The strategic visions of the neighbors closely coincide, according to Beijing's foreign minister. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi, Beijing, China, in the photograph. Nice, very nice photograph. Man, Lavrov is smiling at the photo. I will smile too. Lavrov and his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi in China. Relations between Russia and China have reached their strongest ever level, Beijing's Foreign Minister Wang Yi has said. Wednesday marked the 75th anniversary of formal diplomatic ties between the two neighbors. According to Wang's piece in the People's Daily newspaper devoted to the anniversary, comprehensive strategic coordination and mutually beneficial cooperation have become a major pillar for ties with Russia. We have a strong position on the basic norms of international relations. We have a clear position on such issues as opposition to hegemony and policy of force, opposition to illegal unilateral sanctions and long-arm jurisdiction, as well as opposition to interference in the internal affairs of sovereign countries, Wang said. The minister emphasized the importance of Moscow and Beijing's joint efforts to support the development of the global south, promote the group and promote the growth and influence of the BRICS group and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and to cooperate with the G20 and Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation. Quote, regardless of how the international situation may change, the essence of non-aligned and non-confrontational nature of Chinese-Russian relations that are not targeting third countries will not change, Wang said. Ties are based on mutual respect, equal treatment, and mutually beneficial cooperation, he added. The diplomat noted that the trade and economic ties between the two nations have been strengthening. He highlighted that the amount of agricultural and food products imported from Russia has been increasing, while Chinese cars and smartphones are becoming more popular in Russia. Yeah, so this is just what I was thought. And even, why not, oil and gas from Gazprom, isn't it? But it's not saying here. Nations are now cooperating in new areas, including scientific and technological innovation, automobile manufacturing, cross-border e-commerce, and medical devices, Wang said. He also mentioned the successful launch of flagship infrastructure projects such as the Power of Siberia gas pipeline. Oh yeah, this is what I just say. The highway bridge connecting the Russian city of Blagoveshchensk and China's Hege, as well as the railway overpass between the Chinese province of Heilongjiang and Russia's Far East. The foreign minister stressed that cooperation on China's Belt and Road Initiative and the creation of the Eurasian Economic Union has already produced its first results. And we have a related news that says, read more. Yeah, I guess this news is not so important. but it's a huge news. I guess this kind of news it's not too big, but yeah, I'm going to read. But I guess it's just institutional, you know. It's just anniversary commemorations, diplomacy, you know. Let's go. October 2. Putin congratulates Xi on diplomatic anniversary. Russia-China ties are at unprecedented level. 75 years since their establishment, the president has said. The photograph shows President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin having a blast, jamming. They are jamming. The relations between China and Russia is at an all-time high. 75 years after diplomatic ties were established, President Vladimir Putin said on Wednesday in a letter to Chinese leader Xi Jinping, marking the anniversary. Moscow and Beijing now enjoy active political, trade, and economic cooperation. The message published on the Kremlin's website said, noting that other international players also benefit from the strong partnership. Quote, today, ties between Russia and China are at unprecedentedly high level, Putin wrote, adding that the two governments are effectively coordinating their efforts in regional and international affairs to achieve a just multipolar world order. The Russian president expressed confidence that agreements reached during his recent meetings with Xi will help ensure stability and security in Europe and Asia and throughout the world. Putin and Xi Jinping met in May and July this year. Beijing was emerged as a key supporter of a diplomatic solution to the Ukraine conflict, presenting along with Brazil a roadmap to ending the standoff between Moscow and Kiev. China was consistently called for a peaceful settlement to the crisis and argued that US actions and NATO expansion provoked the fighting. Trade between the two nations has also boomed since 2022. Beijing sent its own message to Moscow on Wednesday, quote, in the face of profound changes unseen in a century, Russia and China have continued to deepen political mutual trust, achieved remarkable results in practical cooperation, and made important contributions to promoting an orderly multipolar world and inclusive economic globalization that benefits all, the Chinese government statement said. Putin's message to Xi went on to note that the Soviet Union was the first country to recognize the People's Republic of China, PRC, in reference to the creation of PRC on October 1st, 1949 by communist leader Mao Zedong. In another telegram on Tuesday, Putin congratulated Xi on the 75th anniversary of the founding of the PRC. Quote, it is safe to say that the close, mutually beneficial relations between Moscow and Beijing have stood the test of time, the Russian president stated. Russia backs China's efforts to reconcile with the self-governing island of Taiwan. Moscow strictly follows the One China policy, which supports Beijing's claim of sovereignty over the island. In addition, the countries work together at various forums, including the UN, BRICS, and Shanghai Cooperation Organization on pressing international matters. So, to me, it's enough. I was in doubt about some headlines on Russia Today, especially Russia Today. You know, that's what I read the most because of the situation in Ukraine. You know, because of the courage. I strongly support Russia. If Russia needs men to fight this war, just call me. You know, comment down below. We need you. We need you to protect us. We need some men in the front line. I will go there to fight for you. And well, I was reading Russia Today, and I got this impression that China and Russia relations were not so strong, China maybe will trade the Russian effort, that will be devastating. But now I'm fine.